Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland. Tonight, jail for a doctor and her husband who profited from PPE they stole from a hospital and sold on eBay at the height of the COVID pandemic.
Whether you work for the health service or use the health service, it's unacceptable to steal from the health service.
We will bring you more reaction as Atiya and Omar Sheikh are both sentenced to 10 months in prison. Also tonight, we shine a light on the fight for the future of the UK's first dark sky park. Campaigners say green energy developments are compromising the sustainability of stargazing at the site in the heart of Galloway. And later,
I'm standing here and one of the kids says to me, "Mr. Thompson, will the cuckoo come out if there's no hands in the clock?"
turning back the clock, we meet a former teacher returning to this 120-year-old timepiece in Edinburgh 3 decades after a school trip to forget. And we will have all the sport with Lewis. What have you got for us tonight, Lewis?
Well, Amy, we'll bring you the latest from Royal Portrush, where Robert McIntyre is turning heads after a brilliant second round, putting him in serious contention for his first ever major title.
Good luck, Bob. All of that, plus as one memorable event ends, another begins. We'll take you to the Island Games in Orkney as the curtain falls on a week of sporting success, and to Aberdeen as the city welcomes scores of tall ships. Hello, I'm Amy Irons and welcome to the News at 7. First tonight, cast your mind back to the summer of 2020 when the COVID pandemic struck and personal protective equipment, or PPE as we called it, was experiencing unprecedented demand. Well, one former NHS doctor and her husband have been jailed today for taking advantage of that clamour in what a Scottish health boss has described as an outrageous and immoral fraud. Atiya and Omar Sheikh made almost £8,000 by stealing the equipment from a Lanarkshire hospital and selling it on eBay. Today, after the couple admitted their crime, they were both sentenced to 10 months in prison. The sheriff reserved her strongest criticism for Atiya Sheikh.
This was at a time when the world was in a heightened state of fear and anxiety at the start of the COVID pandemic. The NHS was facing an unprecedented crisis. There was an extreme shortage of PPE not only in this country but globally, and society was trying to come to terms with the pandemic. As a doctor, you clearly knew that this PPE was essential for your colleagues' safety and by extension their families. Your dishonest actions deprived your colleagues of this equipment.
Well, those words from the sheriff were echoed by Gordon Young, the head of NHS Scotland Counter Fraud Services, who's spoken to our reporter Katrina Renton.
I think it's an important deterrent message. We have to send a strong message to anyone that stealing from the NHS is just unacceptable. Whether you work for the health service or use the health service, it's unacceptable to steal from the health service.
And there was a chronic shortage of PPE in the NHS when she was doing this.
I think it's a disgrace that a clinician working for the health service would be involved in dealing with stolen NHS property at any time, but particularly during the pandemic, that we were short of PPE. It's there to be safeguard the staff and patients. So for a clinician to actually be dealing in stolen rubber gloves is just it's a disgrace.
And if anyone should know the importance of PPE during the pandemic, it should be a doctor.
I would think so. You know, the NHS, the vast majority of NHS staff are honest, hard-working people who have only got their patients' best interests at heart, and I can say that without fear or doubt. But for a clinician to be involved in dealing with stolen property is just unacceptable.
How unusual is this?
It is an unusual thing for staff to be stealing PPE from the health services. It's not a frequent thing, but it does happen.
And it does tell you at the height of the pandemic, when people were fearing, for safety, not knowing, needing this equipment to stop the transmission of COVID, to save people's lives.
It absolutely is. It strikes at the heart of the health service. We trust our clinicians. We believe that they're doing the right thing for us. And for a clinician in her position to actually steal vital equipment it's outrageous and disgusting.
That's Gordon Young from NHS Scotland speaking to our reporter Katrina Renton. Next tonight then. Since 2009, it's attracted stargazers and astronomers from all over the world. But now, the Galloway Forest Dark Sky Park faces a possible threat to its famously starry skies. Campaigners are worried that a proposed wind farm nearby could cause light pollution, specifically from red aviation warning lights, which must be displayed on top of the tallest wind turbines. Well, earlier I spoke to Matthew McFadden, who's a sky ranger at the park, and he explained the concerns.
If we start introducing the turbines with red navigation lights on top of them, they will be visible in front of the sky, for one, because they stand so tall above the ground, and also, secondly, they will illuminate any small clouds that are in the sky. And in Dumfries and Galloway, we do get quite a few clouds. So they illuminate that and they cause sky glow, which interferes with our ability to see the sky. And also, we have, as a dark sky park, we have to have our light quality measured every year. And if that's impacted, we lose our dark sky status, and that's it, it's gone.
That's it, gone just like that, potentially.
Yeah, it'll be gone.
Well, the Scottish Government, obviously it's open for public consultation at the moment. The Scottish Government, they'll decide the fate. They've said it wouldn't be appropriate for them to comment on, obviously, a live planning application. But we do have a statement from Wind2, the company obviously proposing the development. And they said that they're very aware of Galloway Forest Park's dark sky status and the value in preserving the area's natural night skies. They've said the energy park is not within the designated dark sky park or the buffer zone, and to further reduce the potential for any nighttime impact, as you mentioned, that reduced lighting scheme that they've said, that means only 4 of the 9 turbines will have lights. What do you say in response to that, Matthew? Is that still not enough? Would it still, even if 4 of these turbines have red lights, would that be enough to damage the dark sky park, in your opinion?
It potentially could. I have not been consulted, and I'm not aware of any other people within the dark sky park who have been consulted specifically about the light quality and the damage to that. So there is the risk of that happening, but it's also beyond that. It is a stepping stone to further developments which are planned around the dark sky park, which in their own may not be the one thing that knocks us out of dark sky status and spoils our light pollution levels, but added together will definitely cause more harm. And so I think that it's a gamble that's too much to take.
Yeah. And Matthew, how have you seen interest in the dark sky park grow in the last decade since you've been a ranger? People come from all over the world, don't they?
Yes. Just this year alone, I've had inquiries from Australia, Malaysia, Japan, China, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, North America, both Canada and USA, and Chile. When I do my dark sky tours, people's most common reaction when they first see how dark the sky is and how many stars there are is just to say, wow.
Yeah. Well, as a Doonhamer myself, Matthew, who has been to the dark sky park, I can certainly say, wow, sums it up when you see the stars lighting up the night sky as they do. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Let's get a roundup of the stories making the BBC News app in Scotland today then. And a man's been jailed for 9 years after attacking a woman on a Glasgow street, leaving her brain damaged. Michael Harvey was earlier convicted of attempting to murder Carol O'Reilly, who'd briefly dated 2 years ago. About 115,000 recorded calls to Police Scotland's non-emergency 101 line have been deleted due to a technical fault. It's believed a month's worth of calls to the line were recorded but not archived. And if you've been wondering what the story is in Balamory since a brand new series was announced, we're delighted to tell you that most of the original cast will return to the fictional town next year. Well, for more information on all of those stories, you can scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you straight to the app, where there is more for you, including the First Minister John Swinney's latest pitch for achieving independence. Now, in a moment, we will meet a couple from East Dunbartonshire who took their campaign for better brain tumour research all the way to Holyrood Palace. In 2006, Dawn and Rachel McKee lost their 32-year-old son, Graham, to a glioblastoma. brain tumours kill more children and adults under the age of 40, but according to one charity, claim just 1% of the national spend on cancer research.
Brain cancer in general is misunderstood, poorly funded research. We haven't moved on in our area for a generation. When you look at glioblastoma, or it's also called GBM, we've got to remember it's the most common malignant tumour. It affects about 3,200 people a year. And the average prognosis is 12 to 18 months. You know, so it really is a very serious, very significant adult form of brain tumour. And if we're going to do better in improving options and outcomes for patients with this diagnosis, we need to do better in terms of research and access to clinical trials.
Well, as I mentioned, Dawn and Rachel McKee, they've campaigned and fundraised for better research into the disease since losing their son Graham 19 years ago. A few weeks ago, they even met the King, telling him about their efforts. I spoke to the couple earlier.
It was devastating to hear the news that he had received this terminal. He was a very fit, healthy 32-year-old man who had 2 years into marriage, and, you know, and then all of this happened. And, you know, after that, it was just like hospital treatments, and we had no idea about brain tumours as such. Probably heard it, but never took anything to do with it. And then to see all the treatments and everything it went through, the staff that looked after Graham, we couldn't thank them enough. But the treatments were cruel, you know, and he was a quiet, shy young man, and then all of a sudden it was like hospital appointments, treatments, and just it was just a horrible way for him to spend his last 7 months.
When you heard glioblastoma, there'll be people, I'm sure, watching this that they have maybe even never heard of it.
They say the average is between 12 and 18 months, but on Graham didn't last 12 months. But so yeah, it's the most aggressive, incurable brain tumour you can get.
You have been fundraising and working tirelessly to raise awareness since you lost Graham back in 2006. Why was it so important for you to do something in his memory like this?
We talked to him about it before he passed away, and he thought it was something we should be doing because there's so many people in that same situation, and there's not much funding was from the government. So we decided that we would start off fundraising back then, and we're doing it since.
You even got the chance to tell the King all about the work that you've been doing and all about Graham, didn't you?
That was something else, wasn't it? It was just a
real pinch me moment.
Yes, it was. It was unbelievable, I would say. But you're thinking back, you think it's somebody's experience that you're almost looking down on, rather than being part of. But yes, it was a remarkable experience, and he was very, very attentive of what we were saying.
He was charming.
And very, very charming. You know.
Can you remember what he said, Rachel?
Yes, we can. I told him partly about Graham's story, and he was deeply moved by it. And he wished us both well in ourselves and also for our charity, the Brain Tumour Research.
Just before I let the two of you go, what's the hope for the future? Obviously, it's the Awareness Week this week, and you've been working hard for, as you say, since 2006. What's the aim for the future?
I think our personal aim is for us to keep going as long as we can to keep Graham's legacy going, and for our family and our grandchildren to continue with that. The advancement has been great, but at the same time there's no cure for a glioblastoma. But one day...
At the moment, that's the key word, Dawn, at the moment.
It would be our hope and prayers that we would see it in our lifetime, but if not, that it still would come and it would still be part of Graham's legacy.
An incredible couple, Dawn and Rachel McKee, speaking to me earlier. Now, it's already proving to be a sensational summer for big events here in Scotland. In just a few minutes, we will take you live to Orkney, where the week-long Island Games draw to a close tonight. But first, an event that's just getting underway. The Tall Ships races are expected to attract almost 500,000 visitors to Aberdeen between tomorrow and Tuesday. And our reporter Rebecca Curran can tell us how the city is gearing up for the seafaring celebration.
Well, excitement is certainly building here at Aberdeen Harbour, now centre stage for one of the biggest events this city has seen in decades. The first of the majestic tall ships have already arrived, with nearly 50 expected to dock by the end of the day. They've sailed in from across the globe, bringing around 2,000 crew members, and they're being supported by hundreds of local volunteers. Tomorrow marks the official start of 4 days of celebration, with parades, live performances and a packed programme of family-friendly activities. Organisers say up to 400,000 people could descend on the city, bringing a welcome boost for local businesses and tourism.
It's just the most exciting time. Aberdeen's been waiting for this for 28 years. We've been planning for 2 years. We've got the support of all the local businesses, all our volunteers. We've got over 300 volunteers and sail trainees getting involved. It's absolutely brilliant.
The fleet left France earlier this week and will remain here in port until Tuesday before setting sail again, this time for Norway. It's the first time the tall ships races have returned to Aberdeen since 1997, and watching these incredible vessels sail in, it's fair to say it has been well worth the wait. And while the weather might be a little unpredictable, Aberdeen's welcome certainly won't be, as the city proudly hosts its biggest sailing spectacle in a generation. Rebecca Curran, reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
Yes, what an event it is going to be over the next few days. Well, are you among the 400,000 people expected to attend the Tall Ships Festival? Or do you have a special connection to the event, perhaps? We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is on your screen now, news7@bbc.co.uk. It has been a week of intense sporting competition, sunshine and community spirit in Orkney. But tonight, the Island Games are coming to a close. 24 island communities came to compete across 12 sports, making it the biggest international multi-sport event in the UK this year. Well, Chris McLennan has been lucky enough to be there all week and joins us now. Looking very sunny there, Chris. What have been the highlights then over the last week or so? I'm sure you don't want it to end, do you?
Absolutely not. Amy, look at this again. We've got glorious sunshine. It's been like this from start to finish. A minor blip in the middle, a wee bit of rain, but it has not put a dampener on the spirit here. Now, sporting action. Orkney has had success on the athletics track. Now, Taylor Patterson, perhaps their golden girl. She secured 4 golds, 2 of those coming in the women's 200 metres and the 100 metres, and then also in the team events. She was part of the 4x100 metre relay team and the 4x400 metre team. For the Western Isles, Cara Hanlon became their most decorated Islands Games athlete ever. She took 4 golds and 1 bronze, and even set some Games records in the process. Now for Shetland, they secured just the 1 gold, but that was courtesy of Grant Ferguson, who rolled over the line in the mountain biking in first place there. So some real success for the Scottish contingent competing in the Island Games here. Now it was the Faroe Islands who have topped the medal haul, and they'll actually host the Island Games when it next comes around in 2 years' time. Now we've spoken to some of their organisers earlier, and they said that they're already leaning on Orkney. They're hoping to bring the sunshine with them, but also replicate some of the success of the Games here, which has really been a week of fantastic competition and camaraderie here in the Orkney Isles for the last 7 days.
And Chris, I'm going to guess you're going to get that request and to go to the Faroe Islands for the next Island Games, I'm sure. So we're an hour away or so from the closing ceremony. What do you think people are going to take from this week, the athletes and everyone that's been involved?
Well, Amy, I think they're departing with a false representation of what the weather is usually like here in Orkney. Now, locals I've spoken to, they've never seen it so good. That's been one of the highlights of the Games for most people. But this is the friendly Games, and that's exactly what it's been. We've seen so many friendships forged. People have been exchanging pin badges of each island that they're from, and even some of their T-shirts, and just coming together and really embracing in the spirit of the Games. Earlier on, I was up at the women's football presentation. We even had the Isle of Man chanting for the Western Isles and vice versa. Where else do you ever see that? Now, it's been great. We've been speaking to a lot of athletes, and we spoke to some earlier on who gave us their perspective of Orkney 2025.
It's been extremely good. Like, the weather has been amazing, and the people have been extremely nice.
Even the locals said, like, they haven't seen this weather in years. People were really friendly, like, wherever we go. We went.
Just been chatting to everyone. Everyone's been asking us about Jersey. We've been asking about Orkney or wherever the other islands. We've had lots of chats, and it's been really good connecting everyone.
And there we have it, Amy. It's been so well received. It's been very well organised. Orkney's version of the International Island Games. Now, we've got to remember, they're the smallest island to host these games. It's been an absolutely roaring success, and I'm sure it's one that's going to live long in the memory.
Oh, I bet it will. Chris McLennan, thank you so much. Enjoy that closing ceremony and the party afterwards, no doubt. Still to come then, we will get the weather with Christopher, and a former primary school teacher makes a timely return to Edinburgh's Floral clock 30 years after the cuckoo conked out. But before all of that, it is sport time with Lewis. And Lewis, we still on Bob Watch?
Oh yes, Amy, the Bob Watch never really ends, does it? Hello there. What a day for Robert McIntyre at the final golf major of the year, the Open Championship, after the Scot carried a second round 66 at Royal Portrush this afternoon. That was a 5-shot improvement from yesterday's opening round as McIntyre teed off at level par this morning. But a string of birdies saw the golfer from Oban surge into contention heading into the weekend. That included back-to-back birdies on 6 and 7. This long-range eagle putt on 6 perfectly judged for weight, leaving a simple knock-in for a 3. Easy for me to say, of course. He had one final look at lowering his score from the fringes of the 18th green, but this birdie effort trickled to within an inch of the hole. The leader, though, is England's Matt Fitzpatrick. 4 birdies in a row to start the back 9 for him has given him a 1-shot lead at the top. He's at 9 under, 4 ahead of McIntyre, who shared his post-round thoughts earlier.
Yeah, no, that was a good day's work. Yesterday I was disappointed with the back 9, but I felt like I had a great opportunity today to go out there and just keep doing what I'm doing. I mean, I'm playing lovely. And yeah, when I got off to a nice start again, it was like, right, let's try and manage this in a way. And there's a couple of difficult holes, a couple of difficult tee shots. We changed kind of the angles off the tee, maybe even what side of the tee I tee it up on to work against the wind. And yeah, it was just a nice day's work. The crowd's been good since I walked on there on practice days. It's been, yeah, the support's been unbelievable. Obviously, I'm not too far from home as the crow flies, so it's somewhat home.
And here is the leaderboard. As of a few minutes ago, Matt Fitzpatrick, as I mentioned, leading the way through 15 holes. Brian Harman, Hao Tong Lee and world number 1 Scotty Scheffler just 1 shot behind. That could be ominous. And of course, lit up there is Bob McIntyre in 5th spot, leaving him firmly in the hunt heading into the weekend. And a little while earlier, I caught up with Michael McEwen from Bunkered to get his analysis on Bob's superb second round.
This is becoming a very pleasant habit, I think, Lewis, speaking about Bob at major championships. And here we are, the 36-hole stage, halfway through the week at Portrush, and he is right there. It was a really impressive round today from Bob. Stayed present, stayed patient. I've said this so many times about Bob. That for me is the thing that he probably has had to work on the most, because he has all the shots, he has all the talent. He is more than capable, as we've seen in the past from him. It's always been, for me, a question of can he stay present and patient, and so far, so good on that front this week.
And we saw just last month, Michael, how close he came at the US Open. How much do you think he can learn from that experience and take into the weekend now that he's right in the mix again?
I think there's lots to be taken from it, to be honest. It's further validation that for Bob, that this is where he belongs, that he is no longer just the young lad from Oban, the underrated, somewhat underestimated young professional golfer. He is one of the favourites. Every time he pegs it up now, he's one of the big names, like Scotty Scheffler, like Rory McIlroy. So yeah, he'll take a huge amount of confidence from that performance last month. Like you say, he would obviously be disappointed. I know he was disappointed not to win, but I think that has probably just lit the fire under him a little bit even more this week, especially at a golf course that he loves. He's got great memories of Royal Portrush from his performance here in 2019 on his major debut, finishing tied 6th. And he seems to be just riding that wave of momentum and confidence and just good vibes generally. So a really exciting weekend in prospect for us Scots. And who knows, dare we dream? Maybe we should.
We usually do, don't we, Michael? We usually do. And I'm about to hit you with the most obvious statement in the world, but it is so hard to win a golf major, isn't it? I don't think many people expected Brian Harman to produce the second round he has today. There are so many big names in and around the mix too. Are there names that you're looking out for that you're worried about that might be in contention with Bob here?
Brian Harman is the one, like you say, that jumps out. He won this championship just 2 years ago, so as a man that knows what it takes to win the Claret Jug and has very recent memories of it. But as I look slightly further down the leaderboard, there is one name in particular that's jumping out to me right now, and that is Tyrrell Hatton. The Englishman is playing some great stuff at the moment. He's been playing very well on the Live Golf League so far this year. He's a guy that's probably due a major win. So if Bob can finish ahead of Tyrrell Hatton on Sunday night, I don't think he's going to be too far away.
Michael McEwen talking to me there. And for more, why don't you head over to the BBC Sport website? You can read some build-up to the Lions' opening test match against Australia tomorrow morning. You can follow live updates there from 11 a.m. And that is a sport from me today, Amy.
Now you will want to hang around for this because you have already seen this next story.
Oh, yes.
It's been your favourite thing you've seen today. Now, every summer since 1902, the Floral clock in Princes Street Gardens has told tourists the time. 30 years ago, a teacher from Aberdeen took his pupils to Edinburgh for a visit. But as George Thompson has been telling our reporter Richard Forbes, things didn't quite go like clockwork.
Because the last time I was here, I had a class of kids with us. I was a teacher then, and I took them to see the cuckoo clock. And I went to the cuckoo clock and I said, no, when we're getting near, because it was getting nearly near 4:30, I said, keep an eye on that cuckoo, because it just goes cuckoo, and if you don't keep your eye on it, you want to see it. And I'm standing there, and one of the kids says to me, Mr. Thompson, will the cuckoo come out if there's no hands in the clock?
Unfortunately, the clock mechanism wasn't working that day.
And I just turned and said, tea time to the kids, and turned and went to Wharf to get our tea.
The non-appearance of the cuckoo became a family legend, so much so that George's son wrote a poem about it for his dad's 90th birthday.
The pupils waited, all breath held ticked. Edinburghers wondered at the curious sight, but all was still, you could hear a pin drop. No twitch, no sound, no cuckoo pop. His birthday was the 15th of June, 90th, and I said to him, what would you like, Dad, for your birthday? And it came out spontaneously. He said, I'd like to go to Edinburgh to see the cuckoo, because I never saw it. I said, well, I'm very happy to arrange for that.
And at 2 o'clock today, George and the cuckoo finally came face to face.
Worth the wait, and I thoroughly enjoyed seeing the cuckoo come out. And it did come out, and that gave me a great deal of joy to see it coming out. If it hadn't come out, I would have been cuckoo myself.
George Thompson there, having a very happy Friday. I think he's our new favourite person, isn't he? Apart from Christopher Blanchard, how can I say, when you tell us it's going to be sunny, you're my favourite person, but I don't know how it's looking, actually.
I might not be your favourite person for this weekend forecast.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Anyway, let's get on to the pictures. Come with me. Some lovely sunshine across parts of the far north today, with temperatures across the Highlands in the mid-20s. There was a bit of cloud around in the west with 1 or 2 showers, the odd rainbow at times, but certainly some lovely sunshine in the east. It'll be very different tomorrow in the east with some heavy and persistent rain and a Met Office yellow warning. Let me tell you more. Over the next few days, low pressure is sticking with us. That means it's unsettled. That means showers or longer spells of rain, and actually that wet weather could be heavy and persistent at times, swirling around there, and actually quite a humid feel with it too, certainly on Sunday. So that warning, here it is, a Met Office yellow warning for rain, starting around about mid-afternoon tomorrow and running right through until Sunday lunchtime, but the rain could arrive actually a little bit earlier than that. First thing, not too bad, dry, fairly cloudy, some morning sunshine, a few showers towards the west coast and through the Hebrides, 1 or 2 of those on the heavy side, bit of low cloud around the North Sea coast at times and a few morning showers across Orkney and Shetland, sunny towards the Murray Firth there. As we head through the course of the day tomorrow, that cloud will thicken and then the rain arise, moving in from the south, chiefly affecting the south and the east of the country, heavy and persistent at times. In the west, a few rumbles of thunder with some odd showers, and then tomorrow evening that rain really gets going, working its way north and northwestwards. Poor conditions on the road, some surface water spray and localised flooding. And with us tomorrow night, moving northwestwards, a humid night tomorrow night, 14 or 15 Celsius as the overnight low. That takes us into Sunday, and we've still got that wet weather, a second batch of it really across parts of Tayside and the northeast and moving northwestwards. Elsewhere, drier for a time with some cloud. That will then thin and break, and that'll lead to some homegrown showers setting off. And again, 1 or 2 of those with the odd rumble of thunder, 18 to 22 Celsius. East to west. So not great news for the Tall Ships Festival in Aberdeen. Certainly some heavy rain arriving on Saturday. On Sunday, Thundery downpours, something better on Monday, drier and brighter. That's good news because Radio Scotland's Drive Time programme are there through the afternoon, live from the quayside. I'll be there with Fiona Stalker. Come and say hi. Next week, low pressure sticking with us. However, the wind's turning more westerly, so it's a little bit fresher. It will remain unsettled. Here's the outlook. You can see on the icons there, showers or longer spells of rain at time, bit of sunshine in the mix at times too. That's the forecast for now.
You'll be packing the waterproofs. Yes. Christopher, thank you very much. And thanks to you for joining us. I will be back with you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.